Okay.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. In diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment. Business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sear, and a pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. And of course, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things our dear country, Liberia. We have yet another edition here of serious national discussion, and today we are looking into what everyone is talking about, and rightfully so, the drug box at the RIA, the 19.2 million United States dollars drugs that was confiscated at the Rabat International Airport. So today we examine one of the most consequential law enforcement stories in recent Liberian history. On June 8, 2026, the Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency intercepted 198 compressed plates of cocaine at Rabat International Airport. A shipment value, like I said earlier, more than 19.2 million, which is an equivalent of 3.6 billion Liberian dollars. The cocaine was concealed in 6 cargo boxes and was being processed for export on board Brussels airline flight bound for Europe. The LDEA says it was an intelligence-led operation and a major breakthrough. Many Liberians agree, but they also have questions. Since that seizure, though, 8 days have since passed. 6 persons are reportedly in custody. No names, however, have been released. One key suspect, Emmanuel Zion, is still reportedly alive. The House of Representatives summoned the LDEA, the Ministry of Justice, Customs and Airport authorities to appear before it today in plenary, June 16, 2026. Civil society groups are giving ultimatums. Members of the ruling party are devalued publicly, and the Liberian public is demanding to know who is behind this shipment and why is the investigation shrouded in secrecy? These are the questions we bring to the discussion today. Our panelists will now hold back, here and seated and ready to discuss this very serious and consequential development is the man Jimmy Eastman, joining us from the nation's capital, Washington. Jimmy, how you doing, the diplomat?
Hey, Anthony, I'm glad to be here. Welcome, Dr. Pearson. This is important, and I'm very happy to be taking part in this discussion.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy, for joining us. And also seated and ready to roll, who doesn't hold back, is my good friend, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. He's an author. He's focused on Liberia, new progressive commentator. Dr. Pearson, welcome. How you doing, brother?
Thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. I just want to say hi to Jimmy as well, and to our listeners and viewers out there. Listen, this is a hot topic, and I think that Liberia is at a shaky place right now, and the president spoke feebly today in a pre-recorded message posted on Facebook and other places. But again, I think this is so serious enough we should be talking, and that's why we are here to do, dissect this whole issue and let the Liberian people hear our voices.
Definitely, and the Liberian people are going to hear from us, and we will hear from them too, because we will open the phone line for those who cannot join us in studio to call in and participate. This is a serious national issue. The image of the country is tied to it. The future of the country is tied to it. We are all aware of the devastating impact of drugs being available on the market in Liberia, and how drugs turning our future leaders into zogis and zogos, they say. And so let us get started right here. And I'm going to start with you, Jimmy, because you are the diplomat here. Let us begin with the facts on the table, my friend. So on June 8, 2026, it was reported about 198 compressed plates of cocaine value over 19.2 million United States dollars was seized at Rabat International Airport. The LDEA says, Jimmy, it was an intelligence-led, coordinated, and significant operation. In your assessment, Jimmy, how significant is this seizure in the context of Liberian history with drug trafficking? And does the operation itself deserve the praise it has received so far, Jimmy? I want to get your honest assessment here.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the question. Well, first, the fact that the shipment was destined for Europe through an international airline suggests that the operation was not primarily aimed at Liberia, that Liberia is merely a transit corridor for international trafficking by some criminal organizations. And if that is, given that the premise, that means criminal networks feel they can operate in Liberia. And what gives way to that? Faulty border controls, lack of cargo screening, the customs procedures are inadequate, airport security lacking, and corruption vulnerabilities. Our people, as you know, they're not compensated highly, and people who are not compensated highly are vulnerable to corruption. So this kind of volume suggests careful planning, financing, logistics, way beyond, just Liberia. So the other side of the story is that at least security personnel flagged the suspicious cargo. That is something we can be proud of or happy about, and the shipment was seized. It suggests that Liberia's capabilities to, monitor and seize things going on in the country is there. Okay, but it raises a lot of questions, Anthony. Who was
Jimmy, if I may, other reports had it that since 2020, since 2024, about 50 shipments left that very Roberts International Airport.
Yeah.
And
of
that
course.
this particular bus that we're talking about was possible because US and European intelligence decided to intervene. So they elected the LDEA. That is why, according to reports, we have this seizure today. And so that's why I asked the question. Now, many people are giving the LDEA credit if they report that about 50 shipments have left the country before this one. Does the LDEA deserve any credit or praise as being given to it right now, Jimmy?
That's a very good question, Anthony, because even the other bust that I think it was 100 million bust was the U.S. Agencies that tipped off our people about that. So it raises questions about whether there's some inside cooperation at the airport, in the cargo handling chain, in the security system, and it looks like they are overlooking certain things. Somebody's on somebody's paycheck. Okay, so yes, if this is just a tip off, then this has been going on for a while now. At least that it has come to the forefront tells us we are getting pressure from European authorities now. You see, it's been going on, and now it's been flagged. So now,
Jimmy, that's why I asked the question. Does the LDEA deserve any praise if the report is accurate that 50 shipments left that very airport? And every time there is a major confiscation of huge quantity, at least 2 instances now that we know for fact, it was possible because you were intelligent, intervene and say, no, you can't let this just pass.
Yeah, you would say they shouldn't get credit because they were tipped off, but the idea they could have been tipped off and the contents, the fruit of crime, they could have still escaped us. So at least they have it in their possession. But you are right, though, that if we are, our people are going to, our facilities are going to be used for trafficking, it would affect all Liberians in the country. You're traveling, especially with pressure from the European authorities. There's some airlines that may not even go to Liberia. I know some airlines were banned to come into JFK here because
thank you, Jimmy. We'll get to the implication, internationally, air travel and all that, the image of the country. We'll get to that. Dr. Pearson, you heard from me. This is not the first time this is happening. Every time there is a major arrest, confiscation of huge quantity of drugs at the airport, it has been so only because U.S. intelligence have helped our local there before an arrest could be made. Other than that, according to other report, about 50 shipments left that very airport, and it happened because U.S. intelligence did not blow alarm. Should the LDEA be given some credit in any shape or form because of this arrest?
Thank you, Anthony. I think the question, as you put it bluntly, should the LDEA in Liberia, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, should they be given any credit? That's a difficult question to answer looking at the most recent history of the LDEA. If you can recall, if I'm not mistaken, this is the third round of leadership change at that LDEA that's functioning right now. So we had the first batch with Fatiga and A.B. Krumah, right? They got kicked off, they got replaced, and that group got kicked off. Now there's a third group. It's a matter of leadership. And one of the things that we heard repeatedly is that the LDEA, from the higher ups that even got kicked out, were crying that people in the system were protecting traffickers and were participating in the movement of drugs in the country. And And even though the Fadiga brothers mentioned that they reported to the justice minister and they went through what we call joint security investigation, did you myself see any report from that investigation? It was swept under the carpet, even though people within the institutions were alleged, they, reported of being involved in the drug cartel, with the drug cartel. For me, that is worrying because it goes to the highest level of leadership, and that is the leadership of the presidency. President Buck have had over 21 cabinet meetings since he took office, and I haven't seen, even though he declared drug national emergency, I haven't seen brought this on the front burner for continual discussion and action, right? So I wouldn't say I can give them any credit, like you're saying, until we can see some substantial action on their part. But having said that, to your question, look, there are a couple of layers on this thing, if you can permit me, Mr. Moderator, that I would like to peel off. First of all, majority of the major drug bust in Liberia was inbound, meaning it was coming into the country. So in that instance, we were sitting as the victims, right? the victims receiving, the harm coming towards us. But now we now this case have placed us in the position, Jimmy, as the perpetrators. Now we are the one trying to inflict harm on our neighbors. Like you see, it suggests that now we will become a transit point. Now we are not too far from becoming named a narco state. If the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was to treat us now, he will be bombing the RIA, because that's the no nonsense policy they have right now. They don't go collecting the boats and trying to see who's on the boat and how many drugs got on the boat. They just get the drug is on the boat, on the water, and they bomb it. So, but now they will be throwing bombs on RIA. That's how scary this thing is. But now let that be of another layer. Anthony, it was interesting to note that today at the House of Representatives, the boss of the airport authority, Liberia Airport Authority, was giving the process how they receive cargo. He said how they receive cargo at the RIA is that when the cargo comes in, it is processed, whereby they have to check it on arrival and process everything through the check system, and then they are able to determine what is in the cases. Mm-hmm. If they are not sure about what is in the cases, they will even open it. Even if the weight of the cargo is offset, like you put one weight on the parcel and then weigh something different in the under the investigation, they have to go into it. So now, but remember now, let's look at the timeline. It is said that cargo was at the airport since the 5th of June. Yeah. So if it got at the airport on the 5th of June and it passed through that scrutiny that the airport director talked about, how was it missed? Not only that, but then if they managed to caught on it by the 8th, right? So the 8th to today is 16 days. Today the 16, right? It's right. What, 7 days, 8 days in between? What is taking them so long to be able to now tell the Liberian people, like when President Boubacar spoke today, like, listen, these are the people who have in mind that have committed, tried to commit this crime now that will be becoming perpetrators of drug violence on our neighbors, especially to Europe. On a major airline like the Brussels, traveling through our only major airport, RIA. So now I'm thinking, Anthony, I'm sitting here thinking, what are we trying to hide? And I peel another layer just for you, Anthony. The guy who owned the shipping agency, one of the owners of the shipping agency, is an appointee of President Boubacar in the President Boubacar administration. His brother and himself are functioning close to the president. These are people who work in the president's office anytime, take photos of him at any time, post the pictures anytime they want to post. What is President Boubacar actually doing? I will stop there for now, Mr. Seal.
Thank you, Piazin. And, Jimmy, we really have to dissect this aspect of it. I asked the question whether the praise being given to the LDEA is deserving in any shape and form. And I'm treating this particularly to the RIA case, because I've read a lot of reports. There's a report by the Veritas News, run by Martin Colley, that 50 shipments left that very port. And one of the shipments, they have the air bill and that I was able to review the documents. The incident that Pearson just cited about somebody at the airport authority talking about, oh, this is what we do when the air bill number is in conflict with what we see on the machine, then we have to take it off. If the documents say what you have in here is toothpaste, but then on the machine we are seeing toothbrush, then we have to open it to verify that it's actually the toothpaste that's on the document and not the toothbrush that we are seeing on the screen. And so if they have this kind of system in place, how come then we've had, according to this report, if it is accurate, that 50 shipments left the airport? Does it mean that, those 50 shipments were not screened? Or if they were screened, were they compromised? Or some members, of the security or the staff at the airport compromised in any shape and form? 50 shipments out of that place? And that's why I asked the question. I mean, the LDEA, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can give them credit on their local operation. They have been doing very well. They give quarterly reports. I always read their reports and I always do an analysis to report it for our people to understand. When it comes to the ordinary man, the ordinary woman, by the time they grab you, there's a mugshot of you with the drugs hanging on you, you are on Facebook. This is where I wanted to see the DEA to prove itself that when it comes to fighting drugs, it is not about who you are. They are making this a major accomplishment. They said this is a breakthrough for them. And we are talking about criminality here, Jimmy. So leaving that, let's come to the other aspect. I wish we had a lawyer we invited here, right? And Jimmy, our law says, and correct me, I'm not sure, out of 48 hours, when an arrest is made, that person will be sent to court, all right, and go through the legal proceeding. The LDEA reported that. It reported on the 8th that it made arrest of 6 persons. The 6 persons have been in their custody. So the question is, I want to know whether these people's rights are being violated or not, Jimmy. What is going on here?
Well, that's a very significant point. There's law called habeas corpus and all of that. You can not hold somebody without charging them for a certain period of time. So it may appear that some rights may be violated here. But what you're saying is correct, that it's almost definite there's some complicity in with the security and the airport operations that are shielding these transshipments. And there's even more to it. Drug operations is linked to money laundering and international financial institutions. So it is within this case, we can start discovering what is going on with all the peripheral organizations and operations that go on with it. And we can begin to try to, as they say, follow the money and see who are the real players here. Okay, so maybe you're right. We shouldn't give a whole lot of credit to LDEA yet, because in at the end of the day, are we going to prosecute those people? That is when Liberia will show that they are serious. But if these people walk away like the last people, the people will not consider us trustworthy. That's the real question. So we got the goods, we got the people, but they've walked away before. Are we successful in prosecuting anybody? And why not? That will be the real test.
And Jimmy, you are right. And so let me frame the question better for you, Dr. Pearson. So the LDEA confirmed that 6 persons are in custody in connection with this case. Yet, as of today, their names have not been publicly disclosed. The agency says the investigation is ongoing and that premature disclosure could compromise the case. Now, why they say that? Civil society groups are not buying it. Civil society leaders, legislators, and even members of the very Unity Party are demanding transparency. Who is right here? And when does protecting an investigation become a shield for protecting powerful people? Because, speculation has it that there are powerful people involved. Some of them reportedly, not been verified yet, that they are members of the government. And the fact that it is taking this long to measure the name of a person of interest is so difficult for this government, and is howling behind. They don't want to compromise the investigation. The president came and said the same thing. The Minister of Information, Mr. Gerald Limepia, said the same thing. And this is all they say. They appear before the House today. When the Liberian people were watching, the speaker stepped in and said they are having an executive session. And they went in closed door and no one saw what happened. What is going on, Dr. Pearson?
Thank you. Look, a simple answer to your question is what is going on. It tells you how powerful the cartels of drug trafficking, how powerful they are. Look, there's no hiding the fact that when people are dealing in huge volumes of drug like that, it's not small fish in the pond. I hear them talking about Zion. And the Zion man said their passport is expired. And how did he use the passport to enter the port authority with an expired passport? Another person posted and said, but we know the man. The man is the picking is dead. He's not even alive. Another Zion came and said, the man that nigga posted and said, we gotta see him, but that person you posted and not me. Yeah, my name is Zion, but that couple reaching out to me. So they're throwing out bed, and that they feel a boon. Let me just say a boon that we can be chewing on in the meantime while they're doing what they're doing. I listened to the Justice Minister at the National Legislature, and he's there smiling and laughing and carrying on. This is a very serious matter, Justice Minister. This is a matter that will make a Jimmy passport will be looked at twice as harder than it used to be looked at before. I mean, this is a situation where the next time Anthony coming from Liberia with chicken, chicken feet, dry chicken, his kanya, beat up pepper and thing, they will open everything up. And I can say this, and every time I say this, you will come in something where we can wrap the dry fish and wrap the chicken and things so it can smell in the suitcase. And the people are so sorry for they say nothing in the thing they got and just bringing the African food, right? But now there's no consideration for your African food no more. Those things that they put overlook before, they're not going to overlook them no more. Some other travel will come here where maybe somebody say, please carry the one for me. Please carry this thing now, Anthony. Anybody give you something to take, you'll be scared because it's going to be checked.
I reject it.
Right? So now, when the Justice Minister spoke today, one of the things he said that caught my attention, he said this, Jimmy, he said, this has gone to an international level. So we have to protect the integrity of the case so that so our international partners' case cannot be jeopardized. But listen, you're not talking to kids. You're not talking to the ignorant people. Now, we understand that in the grand scheme of things, in international justice or justice system, whatever the case is, fighting drug, other kind of thing, yeah, you can withhold information to facilitate the investigation. But what we're talking about, Anthony, that one airport, Liberia does not have 15 to 300 airports like United States, right? It's one single airport that leaves the country, right? If you book a slot for your cargo to leave RIA, you know exactly that it's going to leave at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. If that cargo does not hit that plane or that plane does not leave RIA, everybody gets to know the plane did not leave RIA. It's that simple, right? Now, what are we talking here? Who are you fooling? Who are you talking to? Like, we're not kids. If as unsophisticated as some of us are, we understand that drug went through the RIA. There is a paper trail that would trace this drug to go and find where it's going, other things, to the point where people like young men like Martin Cody can go and just do a little brief research and come and say, there's no more, air what? Airway Bill.
Airway Bill.
Airway Bill passed through this process all the time. What's about the cartel itself, right? The international cartel, those are guys who sit down and, if possible, they got access to internet satellite view of the location they're operating. If possible, they got somebody who is there to escort that drug separate from those who they're using to transport it. They're just there to observe and see how it's going to get on the plane. And they're going to get on that plane too and travel as ordinary passenger. So immediately when that drug is busted, that person who is escorting that drug without any attachment to it, that person is able to inform anybody anywhere, look, it didn't go through. So who are they trying to make mockery out of? The Liberian people? They're making mockery out of themselves. But at the end of the day, like you see, listen, I blame. And there's a lot of blame to go around here. I blame President Boyka. And you know why I blame President Boyka, Mr. C?
No.
President Boyka declared drug national emergency. Mm-hmm. Right? So if it is a national emergency, this is not something that you're going to cover up with. No, you cannot. So the longer you try to cover up who's behind this thing, the more time you give people to flee the country, to escape the country. Whereas if I saw Anthony picture right now I would say, but I know that guy on that screen, that DHJ put the coin Anthony, right? Mm-hmm. That people is very small. Between you and myself, almost all of us in the pins ever know each other, you know. So
and Pierre, before Jimmy can come in, right? I was very shocked when I heard one of the officials say it is now that they are trying to get footages from CCTV camera. Jimmy, you reported this as an entity on the 8th. Today is 16. 7 days almost have passed. And as now you are informing the public that you're going to send for CCTV footages to identify who may have crossed something. You have not done that yet. So then what kind of investigation are you carrying on? If you have not collected the footages from the time the incident was reported, from the time you said Zion entered the airport, from between the 4th and the 5th, you have not done that yet. So what kind of investigation you have done so far? So you see, these people are not investigating. And the thing they said is that we have the names. We have 6 persons in our custody. We can't just tell you. So the people are so big, they know them, maybe that why they can't release their name. I don't know. Jimmy, does they project seriousness? Mm-hmm. Are the people really investigating? 7 days later, you have not reviewed CCTV camera footages. What does that tell you, Jimmy?
From what it tells me, Anthony, just as you say, there's been some lackadaisical law and drug enforcement tendency. What is bringing this to light is international pressure. Europe is on our case to bring this to justice. If it left with us, if it left with the authorities that were there, we wouldn't even hear about it. Maybe there would have been the 50. You said 50 cases, 50 planes gone, 50 shipments.
50 shipments. Perhaps the airport, according to Veritas News report.
Right. This would be the 51st because it is external pressure that is bringing us this awareness. And then maybe those who are involved because it's a transshipment, if it was not going to harm Liberians. But what they fail to realize, now we are on record as being a transshipment location, and there's going to be different kind of scrutiny brought upon us right now as a country, and therefore we have to make good of this case, or we're going to they're going to take our names down in the books, and this is not the first time it has happened. We just a few months ago, it wasn't that much long ago, it happened under the last regime. Are they going to continue to allow this? There is pressure that they have to have some convictions here. somebody has to be trialed and convicted, and it won't be easy like the last one. So the pressure is there now, and that is why we're seeing these things.
Thank you. So the House of Representatives, as we all know, and we'll get to the president's statement here, right? Some are LDEA, the Ministry of Justice, RIA Management, Immigration, Customs to appear before plenary and account for the case. In your view, is this legislative intervention the appropriate response? And what are the constitutional limits of what the House can compel this agency to disclose about this active investigation? They were there. I'm not sure what was disclosed. At some point, they went in executive meeting and the cameras were turned off. What did we gather today? Did they invest the summons from the House of Representatives? Did it take us anywhere, any further that appears in? You follow it.
You see, yeah, let me say this, right? For me, when it gets to that, then I am very cautious, because you shouldn't be pushed, you shouldn't be pushed to that extent to diverge information that the public needs, critical information that the public needs. So for me, it doesn't even matter if you call names, right? But the fact that there is a hot mark sitting right now at the LDEA, that every day the country is briefed on where the investigation is, and at this point, this is where we are, at this point, this is where we are, then it makes it even, it gives me more sense of credibility in the process. But if you will be so quiet that you have to be dragged to come and give any reason for you being quiet or holding back, then that's a problem, because I'm not even aware, or I'm not even sure whoever dragged you to come and diverge information wants to know what you know, so they can go call up the back as well. Because trust me, majority of the people can bring shipment in that country without anybody looking into it. That don't have ups in government. And the legislatures, those in the legislature, they are part of that group. Those guys bring containers and containers of things in the country, and they got so much power, nobody can even check the containers. And so then you myself may take 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get our container through Freeport. Those guys will go there in the big cars, get done, the container drop on the ship, drop straight on the flatbed out of the port. Nobody looking inside, because they are big people, the big shots. Those are guys who go to the airport to leave the country, Jimmy. Nobody looking in the suitcases. In fact, some of them don't even go through the regular gate. They pass through, VIP era, carry the luggage straight. That he go drive straight at the plane itself. They even going through up in the bed. They drive straight to the plane. The security take over and put in the, So those are people we're talking about here. So I hold them suspect if they reach that far with them, right? I would want to see them have a hot mark at the LDEA right now, or wherever they want to put it, and then there should be a daily briefing until this thing quiets down. Now, whether the legislature has the right to summons them, of course they have the right, because they represent the people, right? So they have the excuse to say, oh, our people want answers, so since you giving it, we'll call you to come and provide the answers. But I don't trust these guys. These are not guys that obey the rule of law. You must have known this from the get-go. These guys are complete. They got complete disregard for the rule. Even the Supreme Court citation to them, they don't recognize it. They tell you, say, we see it. We didn't see your citation. These are the kind of people we're dealing with now. So I don't trust that process, to be honest. So you go into the. But let me help you with this one. Going to that place alone, and then they have to cite them, did not shock me as compared to me seeing a subpoena going to the Liberia Airport Authority, subpoenaing the CCTV footage. that blew my mind, Jimmy. It's like, what in the world are you telling me? Does Joseph Boyka need a subpoena from the courts to his office as executive of the country and say, we want to enter your oh my God.
Especially when they raise the case now as a national security matter. The president said that today.
Exactly. Jimmy, can you fathom that? Does that make sense to you?
Not at all, because RIA is a state-run enterprise. It's not private, and whereas you are intruding on private
property or facility or institution.
It's state-run, and it's directly related to security and whatnot. I don't understand it. It only indicates that this thing, the only reason why we're hearing about it is because we are under pressure now to bring the culprits to justice. If nothing is done, then we will pay a penalty. Right now we're on the Security Council and all those sort of things. We reflect on what kind of country we are, and they are compelled to show some vigilance at this point in time and come up with some convictions. That is why we're seeing this thing right now.
Jimmy, that is true. So the LDEA's own website confirms that its intelligence division works with international partners, including the United States Drug Enforcement Administration and Interpol, to track transnational cartels. Here's the interesting part, Jimmy. The consignee in this case is in the United Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Reports indicate U.S. partners were involved in the intelligence that led to the seizure. And that is what I asked a question earlier. Should we give our people credit? Because they have not single-handedly carried on any arrest for this kind of huge consignment leaving the airport. What exactly is the nature of the U.S. involvement in this case? Because you continue to emphasize that. And what legal implication does that international dimension carry for how Liberia must handle the prosecution?
Well, just what the LDEA boss said. They work with Interpol. There's an international police. That's what they call it, Interpol, and the drug enforcement. They do coordinate and share information all the time. Mm-hmm. And Liberia had been sanctioned for something like this before, but it right now it's in the annals of history. We don't remember, but we have been sanctioned for this drug trafficking thing and whatnot before, and now it's come back full front. If we do this case, if this case, like I say, if this case does not break that ring, the people who are involved, if it continues to foster in our society, we will be branded as a drug state, a narco state, because we're allowing these things to go on. So those big officials who might or might not be involved, they will have to come to light. No small person can sanction something like that was going on in that RIA. It had to be somebody with strong connections, powerful connections, and people getting kickback and looking the other way. And this is what they have to do now. They claim that they don't want to overexpose before some people run away, and they have to be well coordinated, well sealed. Well, if you just now soliciting your tips, and after all this time, something that you could do within your own power, but you're just doing it, it tells us that there's something else driving this case, Anthony. I can't tell you much more until it comes out. But something else is driving these people that they have to act on this case. And we will see if the big names finally do come out, as the president has spoken now. But it will involve some very important people. Very important people we'll see coming down if there are indictments for this drug trafficking.
Dr. Pearson, you pointed something out that you actually reminded us that President Walker declared drugs an emergency in our country. We are talking about cocaine value or worth $3.6 billion Liberian dollars, 19.2 million. The LDEA informed the country on the 8th. And it took over 7 days for the president who declared drugs as an emergency to speak to the country. And he practically had nothing different to tell us other than what PR told us, other than what the DEA has been telling us. What was the significance of the president speaking over 8 days or 7 days later?
You know, it's political. It's based on the very pressure that comes from all of us on different platforms. Like Jimmy is saying, if there's pressure on you, you have to fake it to make it appear like you're doing something when you're not. Somebody will say I'm too hard on President Boyka by saying it means you're under pressure, so you fake it. If any one of us can recall, 2024, I think it was in September, around September 2024. There was a plane that had come from within Liberia airspace. An unmarked plane, unregistered plane that landed for emergency landing in Sierra Leone. And Sierra Leone impounded that plane, and they had some Mexicans on board, right?
Yeah.
And they were in communication with Liberia on that plane. Now, I'm bringing this up to say, did you myself ever got the government to give us a clear determination as to what Sierra Leone said and how that plane was cleared and how the 3 Mexicans and 1 Spanish person on that plane got free?
No.
No, I'm just saying, if you want to understand that you have a serious government, like I want Mr. Cummings to be, I want to see you step up and say, listen, the government of Liberia having declared drug national emergency. There's an unmarked plane that violated Liberia airspace, finally landed in Freetown, was impounded. The Liberian government and the people of Freetown and the administration in Freetown, we collaborated. We dealt with this thing. This is the final determination of this situation. But I can bet you, Anthony, go on all of the government website, go on LDEA, go on Information Ministry, go on Executive Mansion, go on Justice Ministry. You will not see any report, any summary report or a detailed report on that event. No, it's not there. You want to find it, you got to go in the international press or go to Sierra Leone and go find their own papers to see what became of it. The Justice Minister tells us that this has become through an international collaboration in the investigation. Pray tell me, if you really taking this thing as serious as we should be taking it, because like I said, we're not discussing anymore the drug trying to come in the country. We're discussing drug leaving our country. So there's more to this than just the fact that we caught it. Like, is there still a stockpile? To what extent do we have a criminal syndicate or network in the country at this time? Right? Why do we need a subpoena to go to Liberia Airport Authority to go and obtain CC television when there has been upstep to national security priority in the country? Right? When you put all of those things together and you say now you got international partners working with you and you have upgraded this thing at maybe at the red alert. Jimmy, pray tell me, if you are doing international collaboration, don't you think international partners will be in Liberia when you on any microphone, they will be discussing that with you to address the press? Like we see in this country, there's someone stand to your left, your right, someone stand to your left, and say, okay, well now this thing has gone to the high level. Our international partners are involved. They have sent attaché to this, or another investigator to come and join us. There's a team of foreign investigators with us here now. I will get a man time to speak. That man brief you as to what happening with the connection with Europe, right? That's why we understand what's going on in Europe, and we are looking at it from that standpoint. Somebody come and tell you, okay, we from UNOP, which is the other group from wherever else. So, okay, we're looking at it from this end, but the feed into the conversation. Don't tell us anything we don't need to know, but tell us and give us confidence that you're on top of this thing. Unless, if you don't do that, then the next thing I start thinking, then Tantan involved. Then I start thinking, I say, then your friend you appointed in government who got the warehouse that the drugs were sitting in for the number of days, then they are involved. What do you tell me then? Do you hold me responsible for trying to find information? No.
And Jimmy, as you follow this thing, since the DEA made this thing known to the nation on the 8th of June, have you seen any material value of any update they have given, even from what coming from the president today? From the 8th to the 16th,
Yeah.
do you know how many days that? Have you gotten any additional information from them whatsoever?
Yes, it appears that some information was being suppressed. The 19 million is now allegedly 50 some more million. They have been suppressing some information, and it is
Jimmy,
interesting.
I'm talking about additional information as update from the government.
None
The
at all.
40 million that you're talking about, that investigative report established that they devalued the quantity, they understated the value. That information did not come from the government. The government is even yet to confirm it. If you listen to the government, the president spoke today, he mentioned 19.
Right.
0.2 million. He didn't say 50.
Right.
So the government, since the 8th, have not given us any new information.
No,
but yet they are trying to tell us that they are investigating. So the government has not given us any update.
They are suppressing information, and until but here is the thing. This thing has been going. I think Dr. Pearson mentioned several different in stories. There's so many numerous cases that nothing comes out of it, and we don't get a report. Right now, we have the Guinea soldiers in Liberia. What is the head or tail? What is the conclusion? What is the update? We as a people, information is withheld from us, and this has been the practice. That's why I'm emphasizing the only reason this is happening is because of international pressure. Unless we'll be sleeping now, and this thing will be going on for the next how many years? Because anything that is involves big crime, thousands and thousands of dollars, the public doesn't hear about it because all the information is suppressed. And this will eventually lead to Liberia being looked at in a bad way. This is a test for this administration. I want to tell you, it is a test. And the United States and all that, they're not interested in the drugs. They want the network. They want to know where the money is being hired, money and the integrity of our institutions. Because if they keep on giving us information and nothing comes out of it, the culprits walk free, they have to do something about Liberia. That's why we have
that we are saying investigative reports that we are still working to confirm listed some government officials. And to those listening to us, we are not saying because the reports are classified as investigative reports, confirm that they are true. They have to be confirmed. But these reports name some government officials, some close to the presidency. If for any reason these individuals have no hand in this whatsoever, is it prudent or not for the government to say, well, there have been some report that these officials of government are involved? Our investigation has established that they are not involved whatsoever. Will it be the wrong thing for the government to do?
Look, I would say no. Now, let me clarify something here, right? So, what President Walker and others are not, I mean, they're failing in so many ways. Let me give you one more reason why I think they're failing on this very point you're raising. So President Walker in the speech today said this, and I'll read it for those who may have not listened to the speech. This part I want to talk about. He said this. He said, in view of the seriousness, now you are not speaking with this much energy because you ain't got that much energy. They say he was sick today. In view of the seriousness of this incident, I directed that the investigation be conducted by the National Joint Security under the authority of the National Security Council. My question to you, can something be considered national emergency and it's already not before the National Emergency Council, the National Security Council, Jimmy? If you were president of Liberia and you declare drug a national emergency, which has security implications, will it not already be a national security issue, a joint security issue? So are they telling us now that, as President Parker telling me, he declared drug a national emergency, but it was not an emergency? So we've been right all along.
Let me provide information. At the time the president has declared drugs as a national security issue, the joint security, he mentioned that joint security will be handling this matter.
Yeah, but then why
of the sensitive nature at the time? So why is he telling us that? So he's telling us that, well, even though I assigned the task to them before, they were not doing it, so I'm assigning it to them now. Is that what the president is communicating here?
Now, look. You see, my old man used to tell me that she said, when I ask you a question, don't lie to me because it will take another lie to cover the first lie. And the more you start lying, the easier for me to tell you lying. And that's what's going on here. You know, our children are dying. I have a video that I'm not even able to show, and that a woman's son was shot by LDEA officer and killed because they suspected him to be in possession of drugs, not trafficking drugs, but just in possession of drugs. And I got two, and the other lady's son got killed in my community at the ERW area there. Got killed. The late child was going about his business. They said they were chasing somebody about drugs, and they shot the little boy and killed him. So there are multiple people who've been killed in Liberia for drug, right? And I'm talking about at the baseline level, which means at the insignificant group, the one who are the victims of the drug, who did it in kush and did it in marijuana. Whereas now we're talking cocaine. At the level of cocaine, over 200 kilograms of cocaine costing almost $50 million, as somebody else saying, but they put out 19 million. And then we still are hearing our president saying now that this is a serious matter, that we're going to elevate it. Right? We're joking in our country. We're joking. It should worry you, it should worry me, it should worry Jimmy. And I will keep saying this. When our country, when Liberia start to get the brunt of the high-level classification of our country as a place, a country of risks, high risks in drug trafficking, you and myself, our movement will get restricted. You remember when we used to have Nigerians always in problem here, problem there, or they can steal, or they can do drugs. You know, anybody, so you hear Nigeria, you hear oh, they men are Nigerian, everybody attendant can stand on their head. That's how Liberians are going to be treated pretty soon. Probably some are not going to take maybe Sierra go Sierra Leone, become citizen of Sierra Leone and take Sierra Leone passport, but when they ain't dropping it, maybe we'll go Ghana and go take their passport.
And that is true. We all along have been a low-risk country when it comes to drug trafficking. All right. And even despite kush, marijuana, and all of these substances being in the street that the young people been abusing, we have still been this low-risk country. So there has not been the macroscope has not been on Liberia. But this report, all right, this seizure and other reports that are coming up now, it is evident now that Liberia has become a transit point. The question I ask you guys, right? This was coming from Liberia going to Europe. The quantity 233 to the 223 coming out of Liberia. Jimmy, do you think that all the quantity leaving? If you are a rice dealer and you ship to your distributors, it means that at a particular time you ship to this distributor, and then another time you ship to this distributor. That means you have huge quantity on hand. This thing is coming from Liberia. The destination is Europe. That means we should have some in the warehouse somewhere. I mean, I'm stunned that the DEA is even here to tell us where the thing came from. They can't even tell us whether it came from, it actually was manufactured in Liberia, or it might have come from somewhere and landed and warehouse somewhere. We know it's still at the airport from the 4th.
Right. Liberia is a transshipment point. It is stored there for onward transmission. It comes. We haven't figured. They haven't determined where it come from yet, or at least that information has not been divulged. But it is definitely clear that we stockpiling some of this stuff in Liberia. It wasn't like the plane came and you're putting on another plane to go. It's already in the country. That means there's a stockpile in the country that we've been doing this, so we can make the transshipment. It is very evident that this is a network, a major operation that has been carried out by a syndicate. And I can't keep emphasizing, the only reason we know about it because we have some pressure on us. And this is going to be the test of this administration. If this thing is not handled well, and public trust starts to decline, if we stop trusting this administration, it will not fade well for the administration. Because if your citizens don't trust that you're going to handle any criminal activity with integrity, then it will lead the citizens to not trust the entire government, and that always shows up on elections.
So the president speaking today, and I'm reading from his prepared text that he read. The president sent us a voicemail. The president did not come before the cameras to look his people in the eye on a matter that he considered as a national emergency. This can actually make and break this government. And I can only advise the administration to take this serious. Holding on to the names of the criminals, it worsened the situation. It only confirmed the speculation that the hands who happen to be part of this government are involved. Because as we've seen with ordinary people, they've been doing well. They will move in, they will confiscate, they will arrest them, there will be mug shots, and they will be thrown into pickups and taken away. But the ones with the huge consignment have been protected here under the disguise that they don't want to compromise the investigation.
Yeah, but
let me do what the president said. Jimmy, allow me, please.
Go ahead.
Our administration remains fully committed to protecting our citizens, securing our borders, preserving the integrity of our institutions, and defending Liberia's reputation in the international community. Repetition? And 7 days later, you cannot tell us the names of the criminals that have been arrested. The fight against drug trafficking is beyond a law enforcement challenge. So the president is going to governance now, putting the thing at his own feet, and yet he will not act. It is a fight for the future of our young people, the security of our communities, the credibility of our institutions, and the prosperity of our nation. He continues, we will confront this threat with determination. I have not seen determination, Mr. President, with professionalism and resolve. I don't see how this government is resolved. You're not resolved to release the name of criminals. 7 days have passed. What is the resolve? Those who seek to profit from the suffering of our people or undermine the security of our nation will find no refuge in Liberia. Together, with resolve, unity, and determination, we will win this fight. May God bless us all and save the state.
So yeah.
Well,
Yes, what's going to happen? I can
must
tell
be
you.
impressed.
I can already tell you. No. I've heard all this fluff. I call it fluff because I want to see your actions, not lip service. Yes, is what's going to happen. They're going to be a fall guy. Somebody has to be mentioned. They will mention somebody. Now they figure out who they're going to put it on. Now that fall guy, will he be willing to keep his mouth shut and take all the blame, or will he expose everybody? So in the coming days, what we expect, what we should see, who they will name, and how much information will be divulged. Remember, I told you there is a stockpile. They are stockpiling this in Liberia. There's somewhere it's going. We need to find identify the financiers, reveal the logistics of the network, follow the money, and disclose all identities, regardless of who they are. Will we see this? And this is what we're going to see in the coming days. But usually when they want to cover up, one person takes the fall, or they would blame it on some foreign nationals, but they cannot do it without Liberian assistance. So somebody has to be implicated. And once they go, I believe the last people that in the Twer tribe and trial, Minister Twer and his controller got off the hook, right? So the other people who were came guilty, they said, no, but wait now. Why are you holding us for the mean people that go? Then you hold, are we who down yet? Then you holding us. We don't control the press. Then you want to hold us. So they're gonna have a retrial for those people. So are we gonna see this thing, something we've seen before, where we have all the evidence and still we have no convictions? It's gonna be ugly. But so this is what we can expect in the coming days.
Dr. Pearson, the president spoke well.
Yeah, he spoke well. I can even add, I can even add, he said, I therefore assure the nation that the investigation will be conducted with the highest standards of professionalism, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Information will be shared with the public at appropriate stages of the investigation, consistent with the law and the need to protect ongoing operations. Anthony,
please explain to us what the president is saying there.
Anthony, 7 days later, when you're making the kind of speech, you mean to say, we are resolved to call up all the videotape at Liberia Airport Authority in 7 days. Everything gone and lost. The custody of evidence. You know what? In criminal justice, the person, the first 72 hours is very important. In any crime situation, that first 3 days, 4 or 5 is very important, because if you can't secure everything at that time, leave your own to the old man. Leave your own to the old man. This guy sat down there. That just now talking about they went to go get subpoena. You see how the tricky? The fact that you mentioned that you want to go get some subpoena before you go for the videotape, and the video evidence is one of the things that made Samuel to walk free. Video evidence, one of the things that made Samuel to walk free. Go look at all the arguments in there. People asking about, show us video of this man personally taking the money, going to collect the money. They can't show it. But the men were involved. The man says, yeah, sure, no video. So we get a telephone call bounce on the other pole, yeah. Then it bounce on it, so they call it geospatial mafia. All that nonsense. The same thing with the fire at the Capitol building. You see how they handle evidence carelessly? They went there, journalists then walking all in the place, people doing all kind of things. They say, trust me, mark this down. That video that they say they found nothing on that video. In fact, I won't be surprised to tell me say that somebody caught the tape. or somebody erase the video. Or I won't be surprised somebody when they tell me say, oh, the video can erase after a certain period of time. And you know how sometimes you record and you get enough storage, so in the backlog they have to erase, and then for it record new. So look, too many things going wrong, and then when I see this thing happening at this time, by the time they get to the court, it's dead. You going for evidence late too. You give us name the first name girl that some kind of down the line. So you tell me when I went going to the airport with drug in the car and Tesla driver, I pick up Tesla driver and the Tesla driver drop into the airport and I got down and the Tesla driver put my thing down. Will you go hold the Tesla driver that just drop into the airport? Or you be looking for me who have the property myself? Then you go put a Tesla driver and you see the person who drop it off. You put a name on the air. But the man who own the thing, you put a man name off. What is that? No, somebody is playing game, man. Somebody is playing game.
If you want to join the broadcast, if you want to participate, call the number 605-313-6004. Enter the code 719-403#. The number is on the screen. The number is posted in the live feed, both Facebook and YouTube, whichever way you're watching. We want to hear your contribution if you so wish to. This issue here is a serious national security matter that has national security implication. It would be a terrible thing for our country to be declared a narco state. Dr. Pearson could not have illustrated it very graphically for us. When at some point Nigerians were being viewed as criminals and drug dealers, the whole world was suspicious of Nigerians. And they were receiving extra treatment, extreme extra treatment, very uncomfortable situation for many of them. We do not want to fall in that category. Liberia has been a low-risk country when it comes to drug trafficking. We do not want to be on a high rate. That would not be good for us. And to those listening, if you give me something to bring when I'm coming from Liberia, I will not bring it. I don't want to spend 2 hours at the airport and miss my flight. And then maybe have to find another money to book another flight. Because sometimes this flight, when you miss your flight, you want to reschedule. The airline manager says, man, it's your fault. You should have been here. You gotta reschedule and pay some money. So this is how serious this is. The image of this country is already poor. If the image is damaged, it will be a huge cost for us. That appears in something you mentioned. Our officials, they don't pay custom duty. They bring containers or whatever they bring in the country. They don't pay anything. Liberia is losing a lot of money. The risk that comes with that is because they are officials. No one check in their containers, their cars, whatever thing they bring in, whether boxes or drums, no one checks in them. There's a possibility, some cartel guy could be doing business with them. And now it's in Liberia. Liberia is a low-risk area, so when it's getting on the plane and going to Europe, the European are, well, Liberia drugs never come from that place, so don't worry, they're good. There's fried fish and dry fish in that thing. And this might be the situation that we've been experiencing. And so for those who want to participate, 605-313-6004, enter the code 791-403, opportunity to participate. Jermaine? Oh no, Pearson.
Look, while you were talking, something crossed my mind. You think about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of Liberians in the diaspora now. The diaspora community getting very large. And not only that, people don't realize that just the fact that you are dark skin, right? You're dark skin. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're coming from a country where already stigmatized, where they say your education level is poor, and all the kind of stuff. This is just another layer to the hurdles that will be faced, that a lot of Liberians will have to face, right? And I worry about young people who are trying to aspire to advance themselves abroad. I mean, they're going to start facing some challenges. Another thing I want to raise here is that, and I think Jimmy can speak more to this. When I can understand why this might be happening now, with the leniency at our border and thing, because we have an administration now that the judiciary has dropped the guard. The legislature is compromised. The executive and the three branches, everybody now in bed. So where is the fear? You know, where is that fear? Where is that fear that, listen, even if I'm a strong arm in the legislature, I can call one of the justices, liquor talk, and I get away with it, right? The Supreme Court can send us hard notice to our office and say we sat in here, and we can just tell and say we didn't see it. The Supreme Court, the full Supreme Court bench can give a ruling, and then the Justice Minister can reinterpret it, interpret however you want to interpret, and the President take a Justice Minister interpretation. A civilian has a case to go to court and say this person wronged me, and then the advisor to the President can just take the phone and call the Solicitor General. What you doing with that case? Drop it. And then the same person go and offend the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, and then the person go to jail for 6 months. This is the kind of country we have right now. So these guys are running this country now. When a legislator go talk, or now legislator want to be high, say then will not be call you for investigation, saying to the rule and order committee, go investigate. When they investigate, say you are expelled. Not only that, take it one step. Nimoti just did the report on the legislative performance. They cited them to the House of Representatives. They cited Nimoti, threatening them that they're going to audit them and do all kind of thing. Which one want to get them down? Want to shut them down? Which is an integrity institution that's trying to keep them in check. So I can see where we're going, my man. We're going to a failed state. We'll enter into a state. Jimmy and to another talk soon before they say that getting chance, and the fish here ratting answer. Even we try to carry on surgery, it will not work. You know, the fish now is ratting from the head.
Before Jimmy can come in, the NEDMO story was very interesting to me. So NEDMO is a civil society organization. What they've been doing is tracking promises made by politicians, especially the government of the day. And they also been tracking the performance of the lawmakers. And the lawmakers are carrying on projects, so they will go there, they look at their voting records, they look at their constituency visits, and now they are trying to start something that is good. They're trying to make their legislative report. After every year, they want to go and make a report. Some of them will go to their district to make a report. Hey, during the year, and these are the things I was able to do. This is what I said. This is their sponsor. And, so these guys are tracking them. And Liberia is challenged. We all know, traveling, logistics, and they are doing their best to put some information out. Data is insufficient in our country, and that is a huge problem. Our institutions that should be collecting data, they're not doing a better job. They don't even care. I mean, look at this matter. There's no sufficient data. They should have the data of the total number of persons that went through the airport. This has not passed 1 month. They don't even have it. CCTV camera footage is supposed to be available, analyzed, viewed by security forces. So these are the people that went through the airport during this period. These were the movement that were suspicious, so we can draw on them further. We don't have that. So NEBO is doing that, and the legislature is saying they want to view the finances of a private entity that is not being funded by the government of Liberia. They want to see their finance. Where in the world has that happened? Jimmy, maybe I've not been around. I don't know much. I'm a limited guy. All right. So the NEBO guy is saying, okay, good. Let's start with the legislature. You have been receiving a lot of money. Let's start with you. You have not been audited for the past 20 years. 20 years, our legislature has not been audited. Never.
That alone is a red herring. What body is against above the law? With the thing we're doing, I really don't understand it. And it's in broad daylight. We have talked about auditing the legislature. They say no. Why? Why are you above the law? You see lawmakers, so you're above the law, and there's nothing can come out of it. It's a mockery. And then people talk about we don't. The thing what we practicing over there is a mockery. It's not real because we don't obey the very rules and order and we have. We do anything we want, but it leads to collapse. This is the thing we have to fear, Anthony. You cannot continue like that. It eventually will crumble because the pillars that's supposed to hold up the government, is justice, fairness. When you destabilize those very pillars that holding it up, and people go amok, people do whatever they're starting to do. And no matter how much we cry wolf and ask to tell the people this thing is not healthy for us, it's not healthy for us.
Jimmy, let me bring this to your attention, and I would like for Pearson to chime in on it too, right? At the what's it called? NIMBO, right? The National Independent Movement for Bwaka.
Okay.
The progenitor is the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Fowler. During the launch of NIMBO, a political movement organized solely to re-elect the president, 49 lawmakers, the people representatives, they have already pledged to protect and secure the president's political interests. The president is the embodiment of the legislative branch, the executive branch of government. It is the executive branch of government now. It is under constitutional obligation to provide oversight. It cited the LDEA and other agencies within the executive. A legislature that already pledged to re-elect the president. 49 members. The deputy speaker should concern himself with this very matter. The speaker said, and I quote, I want to be a regime speaker. So if we have a regime speaker and we have a deputy speaker that has endorsed the re-election of the president, do you think we're going to get anything out of this legislation? When the ballot operates on majority rule, we have 49 members. Technically, that is a majority, Jimmy. So I think this invitation by the body of the entity is complete performance and showmanship. It ended today. What did we get, Jimmy? What do you make of that?
Yeah, it shows again a tendency toward authoritarianism. When you can't criticize, when everybody is now going under one umbrella, you have what they call an authoritarian government. And when you have an authoritarian government, when even somebody is making a mistake, you can't open your mouth to talk to correct it. So what happens? That government will eventually go into decline because it has groupthink. It doesn't give itself chance to self-correct. So what will happen to us who we the people on the ground? What will happen to us? I don't want to say we should just pray, but what we should do, the only thing we do have is our vote. And if we're going to just take it, the only power we have, and we don't learn how to exercise it, then we will just continue seeing more of the same. It's unfortunate that the balance of power, the legislative, judicial, and the executive, are not exercising like in a democracy, like the way they should. So this is why I say it's a mockery. And it may be funny to some today, but this leads to the disintegration of the society. You have to have a check and balance. But you also know we don't want a check and balance. Okay, let's see what happens now.
And Jimmy, is a serious point before Dr. Pearson comes in. Dr. Pearson, I'm sure you might have followed Josiah Melvin Cole, one of the representatives of Bond County, who was on the frontier side, and because of their opposition to the current speaker, Honorable Richard Nambekun, and Simeon said that circumstances that Yeka Koluba had to endure. And there have been reports that these guys, they've been completely denied some of their benefits. And I witnessed the lawmaker in chamber apologizing to the speaker publicly in chamber, the lawmaker. And this was disagreement on constitutional grounds. But because report says, he and others are being strangulated, even with finances and understanding that elections is coming. If he doesn't fall in line, he may not get the necessary resources he may need to launch a re-election campaign. The young man, he has to succumb. I mean, he lost his voice. Where are we going? We cannot have debate. We can't disagree on policies, even on political grounds anymore. And then we don't matter. So why do we have the legislature for? If it is not a house where people can disagree on political issues, on government issues, and be respected, and then not be denied their benefits, then where is the republic going? That person, I don't know why your pastor name is coming in my mouth. Maybe you pastor now, we know that. Help me here. Did you imagine the United Party? The other piece I want to add there is that United Party is divided on this. I saw a post, I think the gentleman is the chairman for the Monserrato Youth Wing. And he is saying that, look, you have to release the names. And my intelligence is that they believe that those names that are being speculated, a good number of them are not Unity Party people. These are people who joined the Rescue Alliance to rescue themselves, and so the guys are like, look, we can't allow these people to spoil our government. Release the names. Whereas, the political class is saying, look, whether or not we see them as just joining the bandwagon, they are not part of us. And if we expose them, we're exposing ourselves. And they really don't know what to do. How will this thing end? Business as usual?
No, look, I think we had $100 million drug case and did not materialize in court only because there was insufficient evidence. Anything criminal case and thing that's you got to prosecute beyond unreasonable doubt. The fire incident still hanging on us and other kind of thing. Look, and the way we're going about this again, there was going to be a same problem as well. Look, let me say this. Yeah, all of the things you describe, Anthony, they're worrisome. And let me even tell you why it's even more worrisome. People have very short memory. When you tell people that the country is going downhill to a possible conflict, people say, oh, we ain't here for war. You've been in war before. No war come here. Your war, go back to your family, go back to your house. Now, but what they do not see is that a country just don't jump into war, into conflict. You drift into conflict. Your values, like Jimmy would say, your values erode over time. And, and the system and the structure that were there to work before you chip away from them over time. And then you reach to a place where you call the boiling point. And then when people reach to that boiling point, all that rhetoric, we're going back to war, all that thing, that nonsense, it will not hold. Because at that time, people cup fill. Let me tell you what I mean. Budget that we pass, where the guys put money in it for them, some of the money is not properly justified, but they are able to claim it because they say it is a law and it is legitimate for them to take. But at the same time, they claim that it is a law and it's legitimate for them to take, then they deny other duly represented elected officials like themselves, they deny them their share of the money, and then play politics and the executive branch of government connived with them, and the finance minister in cahoot with them, deny the people their incentives, and the thing is okay. It's not okay. Another thing I want to bring to our attention, in addition to what you're talking about here, Anthony. Now, let us be very careful here. People feel say that when you hear person, oh, the people that may be involved in anything, they are not quote unquote. But let me tell you something. No major cut in an amount like $19 million or Beer Mountain or ArcelorMittal or MedTech or LTM or CTM, no cut in those areas go without any big politician here inside. It cannot work. It will, because it has to pass on those decks for clearance. Take the drug, for instance. The Commerce Ministry got to be aware of why the transaction going on. LRA had to be aware of the transaction going on. National security apparatus have to be aware of all the checks and balances have to go through that processes. All those things got to go through airport authority check and balances. The shipping company check and balances. The airline workers check and balances. Because even the airline got their own checking and balances. Right? You don't just go to the airline and say because government laboratory checking, so you just go straight and put you on the poor plane. Even the airline got local staff that will have to check what get on the plane in the name of the airline. So there's so much hurdles to go through for you to beat all of that. Anthony, there is no way somebody in the president's office not aware of the drug passing through our country. No way. If you want me to put my neck on the chopping board for the one and put it there, and Boga can cut it. President Boga can cut our neck because someone in the president office or in the cycle of the president is aware, whether in the joint security or whether it's in the cabinet or whether it's in the president advisory cycle, someone is aware, and someone have the president best interest who can collect the president on the president envelope where the president can receive it himself because of the high level chopping. So the president get proxy. And you know who Iran using proxy forces. Use the proxy forces to bring the president envelope. I'll tell you the joke now close. I will not call name, but I'll tell you the joke. I came from work one day in Liberia, right? So I decided to pass to LMP to go visit one of my friends. So when I went, I signed up my main office. I just see the black plastic banner coming. You know the my business plastic. Black plastic just coming with the officer and the traffic officer. The black plastic just coming. And you know, and the guy got time live. And you know, closet that they can go inside and drive a black plastic car inside. Cheap, is there? Yeah, drive it. So I said, my man, what the minute carrying that? I said, can't see. My man when I went inside the Liberty over Liberty Jetty. Not knowing that it was when I realized now that the guys who own the traffic collecting $500, they will have to report it to the Liberia National Police Head Office. The guys have to report it. If you don't report it, no happen, Anthony. You don't get a sign in the traffic. They sign you somewhere. You're not even near traffic. You can't collect. You can't collect it. So if you want to be on that traffic collection team, you have to report every evening your collection for the day. Somebody will say, oh, it's not happening again in the past. Because about 10, 15, 20 years I'm talking about it. Oh, in the past. But I know it's still going on. So there's no way that someone in the president's office or at the high up they don't. So that's why I would say to you, Anthony, we are in a precarious situation. Jimmy said we shouldn't pray about our John Gafwa and say, let us get into fast and pray. Right? I will call the president, the president saying he's a deacon. I will call the president attention. Then he call a pastor who is how you call it, a spiritual advisor. The Bible says, "Come make all things to God in prayer." And you know, he pray with all season. This is now that, and the president, the other day, he was to ERA Junction, the traffic cycle, he was there under the ring city, he started to think people for prayer. The president will go back to that cycle there, or go back to we got to have a national fast and prayer for the country. This thing we're looking at like this is not small thing, Anthony. They can try to cover it as much as they can cover it. They can even cover it up if they want to cover it. It is not going to be a small deal.
All right. You know, the other aspect of what's going on in the legislatures that I saw, and people need to connect the dots. This is our country. These are our brothers and sisters we're talking about here. Their lives in the hands of those who are governing us. And they carry huge responsibility in their hands. And the better they do, the better it is for us as a people. And they are well paid. Well paid. And they don't have to do some of the things they do to make a living. I mean, you can't even gas your own car. You can't even buy your own Strass car. You can't even pay for your own plane ticket. Some of them have cooks. They have drivers. Government is responsible for the repairs of their cars. You have pension. The legislature decide how much they can get paid as long as possible after leaving office. In Africa, Liberia is ranked #1 when it comes to paying officials, especially the lawmakers. #1. The highest paid government officials in Africa, Liberian government officials. We all see it. The current speaker, Honorable Richard Nambekun, there was a report that he said those members of the of the legislature, of the House of Representatives, would not go into work. They have to report to work, and if they don't report to work, they will seize their pay. And one person in particular that was mentioned was Fanati Kofa. We all know the story, what went on. The man issued an ultimatum, a warning. If the, former speaker should not show up to work, he will not get paid. He will not get his benefits. I don't know what their rules is, but the reason I'm bringing it up here is that when you are signing that warning to another leaders, that you have so much authority to do so, and knowing what happened, the manner in which he was removed, the contentious nature of that. That man was stripped. Other people believe illegally of his role. And he's down. And Mr. Kuhn, the honorable speaker, is saying, man, you're not sure to where you will not get paid. Sometimes there's a better way to communicate, but to go in the open, But maybe that's how the business is done. Jimmy, I think we have sufficiently dealt with this topic. And
just one second, just before you not stuff you're talking about. And the deputy speaker of the country on campaign spree. What the how's going on with the function? Is he on official business yet?
And I would like for Jimmy to speak to that. I'd like for Jimmy to speak to that. The deputy speaker, Jimmy, I'm sure you might have heard it. He's in the United States solely and purposely to launch the National Independent Movement for Bwaka, acronym NIMBLE. He's here. According to him, he will reach to Canada. This is the deputy speaker. We have a drug case in the country that the president has taken up to the level of the National Security Council. The deputy speaker that should be there to provide legislative oversight is in America to launch NIMBLE. He concerns himself with the president re-election. The business of his people has been kicked on the curb. And he's speaking, he's criticizing those of us who are on the social media platform to hold them accountable to serve our people well. We don't have cutlasses in our hands. We don't have bullets in our hands. We are not taking you to court. We are saying do the right thing by the people. You are in power. If we don't criticize you, if we don't hold you accountable, even as we do, you are loose. You get away with everything. How much more when we're not even signing the warning? If we were not talking on the drugs case, they die. Some people are giving credit to international community. We are matching the pressure too. And they are almost stressed. So Jimmy, come in. What is Fala doing here when the home is on fire? He is the deputy speaker. He's on a campaign here.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious what we are seeing. We are seeing the consolidation of power right in front of our eyes. Unity Party is trying to consolidate party, removing those opponents. Okay, that was one of the first moves, the powerful move to get rid of the opposition speaker. Okay, and they got rid of elements, people who were in poor position, who had tenure. All these moves are for consolidation of power. And I mean, it's been done before. We've seen it many, many times. But what is scary about this is that they don't tolerate any kind of, I wouldn't even call it criticism. Because if I'm a doctor and you say you want me to help you, and I say, well, one of the things you have to do, you can't be drinking and smoking. You say, oh, so you say I'm not drinking and smoking? Is that what you mean? And you take issue with it, then how can I help you? So what we are watching gradually is a authoritarian government in the making. And authoritarian governments, if they're not self-governed in a way that is good for the people, then it will harm all of us. Why would the speaker be here of all places? It's garnering support. But we in the diaspora, even though we're not there to vote all the time or something like that, but it is our influence that can help balance the situation the way it is, because our people back home, they weak in finances and other things. So it's only through us and through our encouragement that we can try to balance the ship. Nobody wants to turn this ship over, but we need a balance. We don't need everything to be one way and we can't see what's wrong with what we're doing. We have to be able to know if we're making the wrong steps so we can correct our steps. And it's unfortunate that I don't think we're going to recognize that until it's too late. Until it's too late. So we've seen this happen before, and it's I think if Unity Party pulls off this next election, we'll see even greater consolidation of power. That's what we're looking at.
All right, gentlemen, time is fast spent. No, I think we have dealt with the subject. And so I will get your parting comments. And let me start with you, Jimmy, the diplomat.
Yeah. Okay. So the next coming days will be interesting. Right now we'll only hear about the small names, the Emmanuel Zion and his RIA security officers. I mean, the very same people who discovered it. Remember, it wasn't discovered by LDEA. It was RIA security that discovered this and noticed something and decided to examine the packages because they didn't confirm with the X-rays. So, but the very same security are also under investigation. It doesn't get any better. You can't make this stuff up. The very same people who discover the drugs are under investigation right now as well. So I think we just got to hold on to our hats and see what becomes of this. I think that because of the international involvement, I think there has to be some answers given, or it would have been just rested under the rug. But there has to be some accountability, and they're requesting accountability, and they will demand their accountability. So for now, let's see what happens, and then get the popcorn out and watch the show.
Dr. Pearson, before you come in, I have Mr. Calabo Gonglo on the line. He said he was on the phone and was not paying attention to it. Mr. Gonglo, my apology, but you are live now, sir.
All right, thank you, Anthony. I follow the show. I listened to some of the points that Pearson made, but I don't want to comment on any of those points. I just want to remind FOL listeners, in 2023, I said something, and I want to repeat tonight. I said, countries do not wake up overnight or in the morning and say, oh, we have become a drug country, or we have become like Haiti. I said, time without number, that the way our political leaders in Liberia are conducting themselves in the affairs of the state, Liberia is buying her ticket to the road to becoming Haiti. Haiti is an ungovernable country because of drugs. Liberia is buying her ticket to go there. And this government is actually giving a VIP ticket for that process. If you read Sahara, if you also read Martin of Cordy Variety online, this is not a first transshipment. Okay? So I'm saying even to your point that, they are giving international community credit over local people, it's justified to give international community credit. Because the transshipment that passing made, no Liberian knew about that, only those who were involved. Because Michael Cordy has published the airport way bill, which actually identified the quantity everything, for the mail transaction. This one, my understanding is the intelligence came from the American embassy. This is how the government decided to take it serious. But all by themselves, it was business as usual. It was run smoothly until that takeoff came. So the LDEA said should not be given credit. But LDEA is not a word of anything. So for me, on the drug issue, the approach of the government is no different from the approach of the WIA administration. It is no different from, what they've done or what is done, because there is a former LDA official, one of the three persons that was dismissed by Bouaka. That person has intimated a detailed story of that transshipment using diplomatic powers as a cover-up. The person told somebody here in the U.S. that while working at DEA, they got a call from the American embassy and they met an intelligence or maybe the drugs officer assigned there, and they gave them the information that this is what is happening in this government. And that was in 2024. That person narrated that when he got that information, he went to the vice president's office and informed him. And the vice president said, keep your low. When they found out they got this list, he still wanted to be like that to work. He went to the president, his house, and met with him and explained to him that there is something bigger happening here under your feet. People are using diplomatic means to transship drugs. So that information of transshipping drugs through Liberia has actually been elevated at the highest level in government since 2024. The only thing that is happening is they are all complacent. They are only acting on this one because of the American embassy tip-off. And the local activists, the journalists, the media is on it now because the American embassy was the cause of that information coming public. Because we're not aware of what happened in May, we're not aware of what happened in 2024 until now. That's all I want to say.
Mr. Gongo, thank you so kindly. We appreciate your contribution. Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, thank you for having me tonight, Anthony. It was a pleasure being on the show tonight, and thank you to Jimmy for sharing the platform with you tonight as well. It was a pleasure, man. Look, let me say this. You see, look, when President Boyka then say "Ting, love, and build Liberia," I would have thought it was a sincere slogan, right? A sincere slogan. But so many things happening, from the erosion in the rule of law, the total neglect for the ordinary people in terms of hardship and making them homeless in the process, taking livelihood from them, all that kind of thing. Now we're moving to the country becoming a major drug transit point. Our borders are porous with Guinean soldiers still on the border. The president saying nothing about it in terms of regular briefing of the country. Burkina be overwhelming our people in the northern region there, and now we having this major drug trafficking through the country. It just appears like things are compounding upon us right now, and it may seem overwhelming to some people. Those of us who got family, relatives, and loved ones back home, we have seen other countries' history of how drug pillaged the entire country. New York City, right near me, was one of those hotspots that was a major problem for the U.S. here. Philadelphia, already so close to me, also is another major. We've seen what drug can do, right? And how it brings nation down to its needs. We see what the cartel can do in recruiting vulnerable population to traffic the drug, to hide the drug, to move their drug. And with all of these vulnerabilities in Liberia right now, and with limited opportunity for our young people, colleges are being abandoned and not repaired. Not much is invested in education right now as I speak. Children going to technical vocational training programs are graduating with nothing to do, when there can be a large-scale public housing project across the country where these young people can go to work, and not for free. They labor and get paid for it, and those very projects become a revolving fund for more development. We're still looking at Monrovia and boasting that we're paving road in Monrovia and we're making water running in Monrovia. And Monrovia is not Liberia. The vast majority of 90% of the country left unattended. And we say we're making big moves, so we're fixing our country. I think we should be honest with ourselves, Anthony. And as I leave, I want to just say to those guys who are, I know some are honest. I saw a video of a lady who a LDEA lady who was like, uniform or badge. She's saying, we want to fight this thing. Our mothers and things are dying. Our children are dying. We really want to fight this thing, but people didn't want to give us chance. And I'm looking at the video and I'm like, I wanted to share Anthony, but I couldn't share because I don't want to be involved in her dismissal, right? So I just saw it and I downloaded it. It's on my phone right now with her crying about it. And she got a DA uniform, a badge on her neck. Right now, if I were to post that video now and elevate her conversation, the next thing they will fire her, right, Jimmy? They will dismiss her, right? Again, that's the country we find ourselves. President Boyka. I know you may not see this video, somebody may show it to you, whatever the case is. But listen, we beat on you guys politically, but the way the thing going on, the people got a parable. They say when the house is on fire, the elders in the village cannot sleep, because when the children are burning, the cries of the children rings in the ears of the elders, even when they are in bed. President Boyka, you may be having all the money now, building multi-million-dollar complex in your yard that you couldn't afford to carry the fence below your height, even though you're 5'2" or 3. Now your fence way up, you can't even see yourself anymore. You bought your friend land inside you. Now you're building multiple complexes in that property that have been doing for over 15, 20 years, you know, couldn't even put any correct gate on your house until you became president. And think now you're so comfortable, President Boycott, and whoever near the president got the president ears. Drug is not a play thing. Drug brought the great United States down to its knees, to the point where the prison compound became overcrowded, and they were still building more prison to take people there to control drug. It's not a small deal. You can do all the cutting you want from Beer Mountain, from MedTech, from CDM, from Asala Metal. Don't take drug money. It's not going to help the country today. It's not going to help the country tomorrow. You may be too old to see the next 10, 20 years, but your children, your grandchildren will be here to see it. My grandchildren, great-grandchildren will be here to see it. Jimmy's children will be here to see it. Anthony's children will be here to see it. Let us not leave them something that we're not elect for ourselves if we're still alive. Thank you, Anthony.
That brings us to the close of today's discussion on the LDEA 19 million drug box, one of the most consequential narcotic seizures in Liberia's recent history. What this discussion has made clear is that the seizure itself is not the story, my people. The story is what happens next. Will the sixth person in custody, according to the LDEA, be identified and charged in accordance with Liberian laws? Will Emmanuel Zion, who others said is a dead man with expired passport, be apprehended from his grave? Will the House of Representatives exercise genuine oversight when the Deputy Speaker is on campaign in the United States and Canada? Or would this become another chapter in the long history of high-profile cases that fade without justice? To our panelists, Jimmy and Pearson, thank you for your candor and for your commitment to this conversation. To the Liberian woman and man who watch, thank you. Share. We speak because we care. We speak to protect the national interest. Our speaking here is not to make anybody feel guilty or look bad. We speak because we don't want our country to look bad. We want our leaders to succeed. For me, I'm in Liberia 3 times a year. That Pearson is there. Jimmy was there. He and I met there the other time. We want to go home and be proud of our country. That is why we speak. To every Liberian watching from home and across the diaspora, thank you for watching. And thank you for staying engaged. The Liberian people deserve answers, and Focus on Liberia will continue to demand them. I'm Anthony Sie. The song that says we are all Liberians is taking us home. And until we see you again, probably tomorrow, I'm thinking about bringing the topic. I wrote it down here. Out-of-state voting. I want us to come and debate that topic. Dr. Pearson, you know that our constitutional rights have been violated over the years. We have been completely disenfranchised. Guineans are voting in Liberia. Ivorians are voting in Liberia. Americans are voting in Liberia during their country's elections. We don't vote here during our elections. If you look at the election laws, there's nothing stopping us. And that is the advocacy I want us to start. And I want to organize a debate for us to come and debate the issues. Folks, thank you. Let's enjoy the song that says we are all Liberians. And until then, bye-bye.
We are Liberians.